Close the bathroom door though? Because this is a
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the podcast series with your host, Phil Bear, the podcast mogul. And today I am so happy to have the host of the Dear Sis podcast herself, MJ. MJ, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be here. I look a
Yes,
little fat though.
No, you look fine. You look fine here. You look gorgeous as always.
Thank you.
MJ and myself have been friends for over a year to 2 years now. It's been fun watching you grow your show. You just hit 100 episodes. Let's go.
Yes.
You're crushing it in the downloads. You've shared some stuff with me and that in the past. You're doing awesome. So let's just give you a quick chance. Introduce yourself to the audience. Let them know a little bit about you, and then we'll start this conversation.
Yes. MJ from the Dear Sis podcast. MJ stands for my real name, Mirtha Jasmine. I've been in the game for 2 years, my 100th episode. I'm based in New Jersey. I currently live in Princeton, New Jersey. I always talk about my two beautiful kids, grown kids now, and life is grand. Like, I'm here for it. Life is good. Life is good. Life is great.
Awesome.
Life is great. Life is great, man.
It is.
Life it is. Yes.
So I want to talk. I have been a guest on your show, Dear Sis, and it was a fantastic conversation we have.
It was.
I want to know, what is your show about? Like, let us know. Why did you start the Dear Sis podcast?
I started Dear Sis podcast about I was about to say 18 years ago. No, 2018. I got into podcasting because I just felt like I was the voice of reason for a lot of women out there who wasn't the voice of reason for themselves. So I created this propaganda, and I wanted to have like this big to do when it comes to the lifestyle of being a woman, and especially a woman with a voice. To answer your question as far as what Dear Sis is about, Dear Sis is an invitation for conversation. Also, I've been adding, I have uncomfortable conversations people are afraid to discuss. So that's just life, right? Everybody's afraid to discuss something because they feel like they'll be judged, they'll be pointed at, they'll be picked on, and the list goes on and on when it comes to pointing the finger at someone else when it comes to having a conversation. One thing I do not talk about, though, Phil, is politics. I just don't. Because it's like a circle. Yeah, it's like a circle of bullshit. Everybody got their views, their do's, their don'ts. So I kind of leave that alone. However, it is. But to me, I feel like race is another conversation that's challenging to have. But I'm open to have that conversation because it always tends to deal with the Black race. And I'm Black. So whatever. There you go.
Love it. You're fresh of energy. That's what you are.
Yes.
When you you're very welcome. Now you've added the frank discussions about conversations that people don't want to have. Now, why do you feel you can have those conversations with people?
Because I know people. And one thing I will give my mom and dad praise for, they allowed us to be around different people, different energy, different cultures as we were coming up. So we got an opportunity to learn people outside from our lifestyle. And I just have a different understanding and a different view because everyone is raised differently, right? Mm-hmm. And oftentimes you hear people come from fucked up situations and mom and dad were douchebags and the list goes on and on. However, my story is a lot different because I'm totally opposite. So what I'm pouring into people is more love, more confident, more being yourself, getting to know you, apologizing, and just standing in your own shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, and I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I love watching watching you grow your show and yourself being more expressive. Because we met randomly in a podcasting group, and we've had a webinar together, which was widely successful. One of my first
Right.
webinars. It was great. Um, I, and the reason why I connected with you was because of how amazing you are at promoting your show to get those numbers and all those groups and that. I want to talk a bit about how you promote so much. Like, how do you do it?
I don't even know. That's a good question, because I don't even know how I do it. I guess I'm a magnet to people, and I just show up. I totally show up, and I just pour all that I have, my energy, into that. I don't know how I do it. I guess that's the best way to describe it. I think it's so much. Phil, I build everything off of energy with me. I'm like an energy magnet, and people are so drawn to me, whether it's good or bad. And one thing about me, I'll meet you where you are. That's it. If you're at the bottom, I'll meet you at the bottom. If you're at the top, I'm gonna meet you at the top. If you're in the middle, let's start there. Wherever you are, let's arise to the point or to the occasion, people would say. But that's so cliche. It's so cliche. But I don't even know how I do it. I just show up. I don't even think about it. Because when you're branding yourself and when you're selling yourself, you don't think about stuff like that. You have to go into action. You have to move. You have to move and groove with the movers and shakers. I'm definitely a shark when it comes to swimming in this world, this ocean, this sea, wherever you want to call it. I'm definitely a shark, and I move about accordingly. And I don't want people to fear me, because that's not my energy. But sharks, people do fear sharks because they feel like they're deadly. They stop at nothing, which they do. But the motive and ideal for them, when you think of a shark, of course, sharks don't have brains like us, but their key is survival.
Yeah.
That's all they know is survival. And that's it.
I love it. No, it's true. And you bring such great energy, and you're always supporting of people. And it shows when you post your wins in the groups or you post your episodes. You get so much traction and reactions and comments on your posts. So it's great to see. And that's how you brand it, because you bring that energy. That's super positive energy and that just an outpour of love. So yeah.
Yes. It's not always good though, because I've gotten jumped in some of those groups.
Some of those groups, they're like dark alleys sometimes.
Yes.
Scared to walk down them sometimes, but you brave through and you come out unscathed on the other side.
Thank you.
With your podcast, have you had any episodes where you were questioning whether or not you should have it out there, like you should post it, whether the quality or the conversation wasn't to par? Sometimes I do, but when I start thinking like that, I feel like when we start thinking like that as a group, and I know you're just asking me this question individually, but when you start thinking like that, you tend to get lost, because everybody is not thinking the same way you are. He or she might need that information, whether it's good or bad, whether it's grand or too lax, or it's just like, it's just a dud. To someone else, it may not be a dud. So I just continue to go on. And I just get greater and greater and greater at time. That's it. Great wisdom. My God.
Thank you. Yes, totally. But I must say, Phil, I learned a lot from you behind the scenes. You shared a lot of stuff with me. And I also want to thank you on that. I watch you as well. I think you're fantastic. That's why you and we connect so much. Even though you're in Canada, I cannot wait. I'm anticipating you coming to New Jersey, New York. I know it is.
I'm kind of scared. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little scared because I know it's going to be so much energy that I'll be like, okay, I'm drained for the next 3 years. Because you have such great energy. I know it's just going to be an overwhelming of energy.
Yes, hopefully it's this year.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I'm planning on it. Don't worry. I got things in motion.
Okay,
to make sure that I can travel and come down and see some of my podcasting friends.
Yes, totally.
I need to see you guys in person.
Yes.
Sticking on the topic of podcasting. What are some of the episodes that you really enjoy on your show or you listen to?
Oh wow, it's quite interesting you bring that up. I love all of them, but however, the ones that stick out to me the most is the Zodiac, No Support System, a Trajectory, because during trajectory, I can never pronounce the goddamn word, but I talk about my daughter and I talk about how sexism is really a big thing in the world today when it comes to working and being just who you are, man or male or female, right?
Yeah.
So that show was excellent. Oh man, we can go on and on and on, but just to name a few.
No, I love that. I love that.
Those three, customer service or customers always
Jesus.
right. The gas and everything. Like, yes. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Oh yeah, no, it is a lot. But
It's
you
a
do
lot.
have great episodes because you are coming from a very fresh voice type thing that you're giving out here, and you're giving experience in your podcasts.
Yes, I'm giving experience, no doubt.
I do want to ask you about your guests, like getting guests for your show.
I vet my guests.
You do.
I vet my own guests. I don't allow people to vet my guests. And quite honestly, I go on their Instagram, their YouTube, their Facebook. If I know them personally, I'll inbox them. And a lot of times people don't tell me no. They say yes. I say, listen to the show to make sure that we're a happy marriage. Because if you don't listen to the show, you'll miss who I am as a host. And you'll also miss the message of what I'm trying to deliver or convey. So you definitely have to listen. You have to listen to the show first for it to work. Because you may not like the fact that I curse, or I may use the N-word a lot, or I might talk about my kids too much, or I might hit a soft spot for you. So I want you to listen to the show so you can have a better understanding of who I am. And then we can come back and have an interview and a conversation. Yes.
Just answer all those questions without me even having to ask. How do you go about finding those guests, like the guests that you want on your show?
Again, I just do my homework, do my due diligence, and I go from there.
Do you have a list of guests that you want to have on your show? Like a special?
No special guests. Nope. Random. It's all random. Nope. All random shit. All random. I just pick and I go from there. Nope. And if I like you, if I feel your energy, your vibe, and I feel like you'll make a perfect match for the show, then so be it. Now that I'm not at the level I want to be. A lot of people on the outside may believe that I am, but I'm not. However, I do go more quality now. I'm going to pick the heavy hitters, the people that they're afraid to attack or afraid to go after. And again, I say, listen to the show. And I go from there. I vet my own guests. Again, to answer your question, I vet my own guests. I don't allow people to vet my guests because a lot of times they get somebody that's corny. And I'm like, no, that don't fit my style or energy. Not that I was going to say not that it's supposed to, but yes, I want it to. I want you to fit my style and energy.
I love it.
Totally.
And I think more podcasters need to do that. Like look for the energy that matches. Because if you have someone whose energy is so low and you have a high energy like yourself, MJ, it can just ruin the whole episode because you're not moving at the same speed, and it just makes a wonky episode.
It does. It makes a wonky episode. Absolutely. Totally.
Where do you want to be? You mentioned before that you're not where you want to be, but people may perceive you as. Like, where do you want to be as a podcaster?
I'll answer this first.
Okay.
I've been called the Howard Stern of podcasting and the female version of Dave Chappelle. Okay. So there you go.
So that's the level you want to hit. Okay.
Yes, totally. So because if people see me as that, then I want to become that in my own right, though, because they all have their own path. They're doing their own thing. They're making their own money, and they're living their best life at what they do. But I would love to be the female version of that. Of course, I'm not changing my sexuality, so I can't be a guy version of it because I love being a woman for a lot of different reasons. I ain't gonna get too freaky, but I can if you want me to. I feel Okay, I can get a little nasty too.
We'll keep it PG. We'll keep it PG for now.
But yes,
PG-13. But yeah,
keep it PG-13 plus.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's where I would like to be.
Okay. Do you plan on doing any live events with your show, like showing up at a specific location so you can have a live audience watch you while you're on your show?
I would love to. And sometimes it's the not knowing how to, even though that may sound crazy coming from me, but I just feel like that. Like, I'm like, where do I start? So that's when I reach out to you, or I ask somebody else, like, how do I do this? What do I need to do? New Pod City, the network that I'm with, New Pod City Podcast Network, in June, we have something called a Podstock coming. It's our first annual Podstock in June. I'll send you the information as well. And we're doing a damn thing here in Trenton, New Jersey at the Masonic Temple. So I'll be showing up for that as a podcaster. Hopefully I get to be one of the not the hosts, but one of the speakers at the event.
That would be awesome.
Yes, totally awesome. So yes, I would love to do more live stuff, but I don't know how.
We'll talk.
Okay,
I'll help you with
I
that.
don't know. Okay. All right, cool.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Now, what you said you love podcasting. What are some podcasts that you listen to apart from my own and yours, of course? What are some shows that you enjoy?
I listen to Mark Maron, What the F, WTF. I listen to Side Hustle Pro, Amanda Seals, True Crime Reporters. I listen to him. I also listen to Rich and Tim, Unleash. I used to listen to Yada Debates, but he's not on as much as he should be or need to be. Some Dave Chappelle, of course. I don't listen to Howard Stern. It's funny. I don't really listen to much of his stuff. I listen to some sport ones. I can't really call the names. I just kind of listen to it at a glance because I'm totally a basketball junkie. Just to name a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just to name a few.
Let's get some advice from you because you're such a prolific promoter of your podcast. What is a tip that you give to new podcasters coming out? That's something like we like to ask here on the show. What is a tip you have for new podcasters when it comes to promoting?
When it comes to promoting, I believe that you should own your voice because everybody hates their voice. I always hear that. I hate my voice. I hate how I sound. Own your voice. Know your audience. Even if it's 5. Know all 5 of them motherfuckers. Know your audience. Love your voice. And have content. Be relatable. Be relatable. Because people tend not to be relatable at times because they're afraid they might turn somebody off or piss somebody off or somebody might love them too much. It doesn't matter. This is like a melting pot of love, energy, anything you want to give. This is your show. You do your own goddamn thing. Be your own true self. A lot of podcasters are afraid to do that. They'd be like, I don't want to do this after the 5th show. Why? You started at 1. Keep going. I hate my voice. So what? Keep going. You'll probably get to 50 and love your voice. It's not about you, though. That's what we fail to realize. It's not about us. People loved us and people love to hear our voice and so forth, but it's really about your audience that's tuning in. And you have to design it for that particular guest or person that's listening. Yeah.
Freaking great advice.
Love
this show for getting us this. This is the part of the show I love the most because I get to get the wisdom from fellow podcasters, and it's always like, why can't I think of these wisdom? Because it's true. It's you have to own your voice. I know how much I hated my voice for the longest time. Oh, I despised it. I worked in a call center, so I had to listen to my calls with my coach and then point out where I did wrong. So whenever I would hear my voice, I would assume it just negativity was associated with it. And like people are like, oh man, you have such a great voice. You should do AMSR or whatever it's called, all these things. And I'm like, my voice sucks. But now I've come into loving my voice because I know how powerful it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It definitely is. And it's almost as if it's like music. They'd be like, oh, I know who that is. That's Phil. That's Phil better. I like his voice. Oh my God, let me tune in. Let me see what he has to say. And people are so like attracted to that, but it's a better word that I want to use. It's almost like a harmony when they hear it. You get what I'm saying? And that's so important. That's important because your voice is a harmony and you're not being offensive. And maybe you might be. But so what? They still enjoy it. That's so important. Use your voice. Show up. Show up. Because when you don't show up, you start losing your guests. And you wonder why things aren't working out when it comes to your podcast. And that's when you want to give up. People love to give up, don't they? People love to give up. Giving up is so easy. That's the most easiest thing in the world you can do. Giving up is easy. That's the easiest thing.
It is.
It is. Fuck it. I don't want to do it. Okay, cool. That's fine. Next.
And then you complain about it 3 years down the line. Why am I not more successful, or why is my show better? It's because you didn't do it. The work. You didn't do the work. You chose the easy way out.
Yeah, you said out. I'm out. Yes. Don't complain. What you complaining for? Excuses only sound good to the people that are giving them.
So true.
It never sounds good. It never sounds good to the person next to you because they don't want to hear that. You know how many times I want to give up, but I don't, because I know I've built a brand and I just have to keep going. Even though even if I get criticized or people say mean things to me, I'll say, oh, fuck you, and keep going. I do. I'm
MJ laying down some fucking wisdom here. Yes. Just straight up life wisdom. Just say fuck you and keep going.
Yeah, that's no sweat off your back. I mean, nah, come on. You got other things to worry about. You got other things stirring in the pot. You have other people you have to help, and you have people that listen to your show, Phil, right? That depend on you to show up. Because you showing up matters. During COVID, prime example, during COVID, we were on punishment for 2 years, right? I say 18 months. I took an extra 19 for myself. I took 19 months because I couldn't take it, right? But people were listening to your show that were in a worse situation that you were in. You're crying because you don't want to get out of bed. You got some people that can't get out of bed. You're crying because the coffee is not hot enough. You got some people that can't even make coffee. So I look at all those things. I really, really do. And I don't take anything for granted at all. And you know what? I want to share. You're going to laugh, so don't drink the coffee while I'm about to share this story.
Whenever you start talking or starting to laugh, I'm like, no, not happening.
So sure thing, right? New York City, real quick. New York City, my girlfriend and I, her name's Tasha. Well, was Tasha. She passed away. She had cancer. She died a few years ago. However, her and I, we were in the city, hanging out, went to an event. After the event, we got something off of one of the stands in New York City. And I think it was a hot dog or something. Not even a hot dog. It just was like one of those gyros, one of those quick fix sandwiches or whatever, right? So it was time for me to go back. I got on the train, went home, did my thing. On the train, I didn't get home yet. On the train, my stomach started bothering me. Oh, no. Mind you, I'm on the fucking train, New York City, going home. On the train, I said to this lady, I said, listen, do you mind watching my stuff? Mind you, I had all my personal stuff because my stomach was bubbling. My stomach was bothering me. And I said, this cannot be happening. I'm on the fucking New York City train trying to go back home and I got to poop. So I said, ma'am, can you watch my stuff? She said, sure, I'll watch your stuff. Mind you, I didn't know this lady. I was out of my mind. So I'm on the train. I had to use the restroom on the train, New Jersey Transit train. Use the restroom, right? Phil, I threw up and pooped at the same time. That very moment, Phil. No, this is some real deal Holyfield shit. That very moment, I didn't take nothing else for granted. You know why? Because if I was home, I could sit down, right? I could have a garbage can in front of me, right? I could light a candle. I could light matches. I could smoke a Dutch. I could smoke a cigarette. I can do all those grand things that I couldn't do in the restroom. Because mind you, I'm not sitting on your fucking toilet. But I had to go. I still didn't sit on the toilet. I pooped and I threw up at the same time. So I had to stop what I was doing, Phil. And I know it's disgusting, right? But it's real. Ever since that day, I take nothing for granted because I remember when I was on the train station coming home to New Jersey, how my stomach was so upset. I couldn't take advantage of sitting down and doing my thing the right way. Little things we take for granted by sitting on a toilet. That's small. But that was a life lesson that I don't take nothing for granted. Nothing.
That's one way of learning that lesson.
It was
I would never want to have that lesson be taught to me that way, but geez.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, right? But
could have been.
That was the lesson for me. And I always tell the story, no matter what, the same way.
All right, we're coming up here to the end. I'm going to jump off the screen here, MJ. I'm going to let you promote your podcast where people can find you and listen to you and all that fun stuff. It does. It's insane how quick it goes. My God. All right. So you don't be sad. Be happy because we're always going to talk again. We're going to be a guest again on the show, like guaranteed. Okay. Maybe not tell the poop story again because we had it in episode 1. We'll keep it.
No, we won't tell the poop story. No.
But the floor is yours.
Yes. Hey, guys. What's going on? It's your girl, MJ, from the Dear Sis podcast. Listen, tune in. Your girl, MJ, always rocks the mic. Every Wednesday, you can catch me on all podcast platforms. All podcast platforms. Yeah, it's your girl, MJ. I'm always doing my thing. I'm talking about shit. I have uncomfortable conversations people are afraid to discuss. You can find me on social media everywhere, Dear Sis Podcast, or just type in Dear Sis, and you'll see my face. I look like a little cartoon characters. I am not wearing my glasses in my photo, however, but you'll see my smile. My teeth are not as white as I want them to be, but in that cartoon character, they are because people always make your teeth whiter when they're not supposed to be that goddamn white. But I do have all 32 of them. But Dear Sis Podcast, you can find me anywhere, all the platforms. Send me a kite. And a kite is like a little note saying you saw the show, you love me, whatever, or you hate me. I don't care. Just send me something. Yo, and I'm also celebrating my 100th episode. So check out your girl MJ on the Dear Sis podcast. Check out your girl MJ on the Dear Sis podcast.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, my big thanks to MJ for being a guest here. It's always great catching up with you and talking. Finally having a frank conversation about podcasting on my show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it was a pleasure. To my audience, remember, you can find all the links in the show notes down below to connect with the Dear Sis podcast and celebrate an awesome voice in the podcasting space. And I am, of course, Phil Better. Remember to always invest in yourself.